regular meeting of City Council for Monday, June 29th, 2026 to order. The City of Dawson Creek acknowledges that we are privileged to live and work on Treaty 8 territory and the traditional home of the Cree, Danaze, Saulteaux, Sicanee, and Slavey First Nations. We value the Métis peoples that live and gather here, and we commit to upholding the respectful relationships these nations have built with the land, and we acknowledge our responsibility to carry that forward today and into the future. Two delegations, 2.1, we have Eric Wolf, Athletic Director, and Carsten Erbe, Quality Service Analysis with School District 59 in attendance regarding a request for city support for proposed running track at South Peace Campus. So good morning, gentlemen, and welcome. If you just push the button on the mic there, I will can turn it on for you. Perfect. The floor is all yours, and good morning.
Thank you so much. Thank you for this opportunity to speak to the council today, Mayor and Council. We are contingency that are petitioning for a rubberized 400-meter running track within the city of Dawson Creek. My name is Carsten Erbe. I'm with an agency called Community Living BC. Work with developmentally challenged adults, helping them live free and independent lives. And my counterpart, Eric Wolf, who's the athletic director for South Peace Senior Secondary, and also the head coach for the track and field apparatus. Now, how does this work here?
She's just putting it up.
Oh, okay.
She's gonna set it.
Oh.
You lost it.
And that's not the running track right there.
No? A nice one, though.
Just gonna play her slide.
That might be a little bit more than a grant, though.
For sure.
To accommodate that.
Yes, we're trying to move mountains, but not those mountains.
Yeah.
Is it live here? Okay, so yeah, that's who we are. Now, as many would be aware that we have no designated running track, outdoor running track within the city of Dawson Creek. Most jurisdictions our size throughout the land have some area by which athletics, core athletics, running, throwing, and jumping can occur. We've had a series of gravel running tracks throughout our community, but they've fallen into disrepair. And we're trying to rectify that and really build up the complement of recreational infrastructure within the city of Dawson Creek. And Eric can speak to this, being having firsthand knowledge around track and field within the community, where he's been practicing, and some of the deficits around not having these facilities in our community.
So as everybody knows, I am athletic director. Let me clarify my position. I will not be athletic director at Dawson Creek Secondary South Peace Campus next year. I'm leaving that position to go and focus a little bit more on my coaching and spend other time with other grandkids and other stuff that I'm doing. Over the past 25 years being involved in track and field and cross-country running, we've been stuck with, we first had a lovely gravel track that had black lava on it. At a certain point, they put geothermal tracking. They dug up our track and put geothermal stuff for the school, so we had a better energy system. And it never got really developed after that. So we always have sort of made do with a grass field. My track and field stuff this year. Sorry, I'm catching a cold here, but my track and field stuff, I train at Central Middle School. I make a track on the grass. I don't have that facility, and it's limiting for a lot of the things, and haven't been involved with many different. I'm into provincial championships a number of times, BC Summer Games. I'm going with some kids this year again. I've seen some great facilities, and I think a couple of in rooms. We have a throwing circle now at our facility, and I'm going to throw out Kyle's name. His daughter was one of our throwers, and was a great addition to our stuff. So the school district has put some money into it, and currently they're in the process of flattening it out and putting proper grass there so we can use it for other sports and activities. But that's taken probably about 5 years, 6 years to get that done. So because we don't have a facility, we're quite limited in what we do. I do usually do high school stuff, but take kids to BC school sports or BC Summer Games. And I also previously was an elementary athletic director for the School District 59. And we used to run a track and field meet there with limited abilities. So because we have those limits, we're really sort of stuck. we can only get so far with the athletes. I can take them to Grand Prairie and get a better facility and train and stuff. So moving on up, we'll talk about the District of Chetwynd. So recently the District of Chetwynd, or is this yours, Carsten? No,
That's mine, but
Okay,
we can speak to both of it.
You get both. The District of Chetwynd, and you guys will have some photos later on, they recently put in a 400-meter running track. They did find funding through Northern Development and other sources to put in a track, and I went there about 3 weeks ago with an elementary school, a couple elementary schools, and it was a wonderful facility for those kids to run on that thing. And my athletes went there and went, wow, they hadn't seen that other than being in Prince George. So we are limited in that stuff, and they did receive that stuff. So and now I'll patch over to Carsten. We talk about costs of that facility and such.
Yeah, so we recognize the costs are significant for a running track. They run about $500,000 to $800,000, but the legacy of those investments last 40, 50 years. And recognizing that there is big capital infrastructure needed, we don't want to unnecessarily put the burden on the city of Dawson Creek or the school district. We recognize that there's funding opportunities and envelopes available, mainly through the NDIT Recreational Infrastructure Grant, which did provide a bulk of the funding for the project in Chetwynd. And they leveraged that with other resources, including community resources, to build their wonderful track. And the benefit of it is not solely for the kids. We are, and not having these base facilities, we are devoid of opportunities to host regional track meets or larger events such as the BC Summer Games or the senior games, the 55-plus games. Kamloops is having their 55-plus games in September, and they're projecting 1,500 athletes coming to the community, filling their hotels and having good memories of that local community. And we want to bring that here to Dawson Creek. So the collaboration part that we're petitioning, we have done outreach to the Economic Development Officer within Chetwynd. She's a very kind woman and said that we can access all of her information. That is only 2 years dated. She's done the research work, she has the schematics, and she has the relevant costing information. Much of it was done by businesses within the community of Dawson Creek. So that information is more or less complete, and she's willing to share that with us. Given the significant cost, we're positioning that the city of Dawson Creek would apply for $300,000, up to 50% of the capital expenditures. And the school district would provide the land. We have some projected space, South Peace Campus, and take care of the yearly maintenance costs, which could be up to $15,000 a year. And again, we want this a collaborative approach and model our efforts after what was done in Chetwynd. We think we have some synergies here. If the city is in agreement, we have the school district on board, and we have an open invite to speak to the Rotarians, who, in the Chetwynd case, provided $90,000 worth of funding. So I have an open invite Eric and myself on July the 22nd to basically demonstrate our vision and to see if what support we can get from those community partners.
So this is just some quick images of the Chetwynd facility, which I was at. So it's got 6 rubberized lanes. Beautiful facility. I did some races with some elementary kids, and it was just great to see them run on it, and lots of activities. And I took a number of my athletes there to assist as coaches and supporters of that. So that's just they have a quick 400-meter track, rubberized with the surface, and they put the lines down. It has to get a few improvements in the lines, but it's quite minor stuff what they have to do. It does not include some of the other field of things that are there. But those are sort of, you can put a long jump pit in anywhere. You can do a lot of stuff like that one. We'll go next, yes. So what we're looking at is the tricky part is funding. I've wanted something like this, as I've said, for 20 years. Never got around to getting it done, and I want to say thank you to Carsten. He's sort of pushed this, I guess, past the start line now, or past the 10-meter line, whichever we've got over the first hurdle. And a couple of things that we have is looking at who would apply for the North District, or Northern District, North?
The Northern Development Initiatives Trust Fund. Yeah.
Yes, okay, sorry, I'm a little tired. So there's the thing. As we said, the school district, we've got a letter, and I think you guys may have a copy of the letter from Paul Chisholm, who's Director of Instruction, who said that the school district definitely support this. I'll let you read that through, and talks about what they would like to do, and that's the kind of thing. If not, and you guys doesn't want to build there, I'm sure if some of the city wanted to build one of their own somewhere else, I'm never going to say no, but this is a great chance, and it's a great facility and place to do it. And now Carsten can talk about the additional fundraising stuff and any of the maintenance use.
Yeah, and just before that, I'm respective of time, but we have, Eric has informed me that we have, what is it, a use of agreement, or
City user agreement.
City user agreement, sorry. So facilities developed by the school district can be, used by citizens of Dawson Creek. So it's an either-or sort of proposition. It's just leveraging everybody's skill sets and ultimately using the school district's capacity to deal with maintenance costs on an ongoing fashion would relieve the city of any responsibilities in terms of yearly maintenance, whether they be vandalism or wear or tear from our harsh winter climates. But we, again, and just in closing, we do want to leverage the community supports that are available. We have tremendous supports from our business communities and some of our nonprofit sectors as the Rotarians and the KIN. We have a history of that sort of collaborative process, and we think we can join our strengths and our attributes to build a legacy here that would serve our youth and community well moving into the future.
Just to add, I think of things that I've seen over the years, and when I go to Prince George and go by and I look at their track, and yes, they spent a lot of money on theirs, but theirs has been there for 30 years. But how many people that aren't school kids using it? It's adults walking around, and it's a much nicer environment rather than walking on concrete or anything. As Amy, I know, is a runner, and she would understand it. Sometimes running on the concrete can be pretty hard on you, but go running on a rubberized track, and if you want to do certain things and activities there, I can see the school district running an elementary track and field meet and other schools coming in to use it, which happens in Prince George quite a bit. Schools come down and their fun day is at the track, and they put all those things together. So just getting that population, I think the seniors population, and I do, my apologies there. Sorry about that one. I do see that one of the facilities we struggle with is we know we have the running track up at the Ovintiv Center, but that has its limited capabilities, and I don't think a lot of people want to go running around a track in June inside. So this would provide a lot of support there. I think putting the right field in there, it's going to be used for soccer. It's going to be used for so many things and so many activities. So I don't see this benefiting just my high school team. I see it benefiting the community. Place we can also run more other events if the city wants to do stuff, and I think that's something that would have to be looked at and how we could work that out. But I see it would be quite a facility to do that. I do want to add, and I'll pass these on, is just so people have a little bit more information, is this is a mock-up of a drawing that we put together way back in 2017 when myself and one other teacher went to the school district one. So I have copies here for council. If
Yeah, I'll just need a motion to accept the late item. Councillor Kemp, second Councillor Sudnick.
I think there's
Just
7 of them.
going to call that to vote.
Yeah. So it's just a mock-up of sort of what we did for a look up there. So that being said,
Or just manual?
I don't have anything else to say.
Oh, nothing's coming up.
Oh, we're going to put a motion up first.
Yeah, that's okay, Eric.
Nothing, no. All in favor? It's carried. Okay, you can hand them out. Or you can pass them to Kyle. We can pass them down too. Or Councillor McDonald, sorry.
And did anybody else get the letter from Mr. Chisholm? I didn't know that.
Anybody else? I have one.
It might have been made out to the city. We can always get that later.
We'll take your word that he's in support.
I have a copy of it just in case.
They can forward it to us after.
Yeah. All right, well, thank you both for being here this morning and presenting to us and, and spearheading this initiative, so thank you. I'll open it up to council. First, Councillor Earl.
Thank you. Thank you, Worship, and thank you to our delegation for your time this morning and for letting us know about this. It looks like a very cool initiative, and I think on first blush, it's something I can't imagine we wouldn't be in support of if it's, an additional amenity for recreation, doesn't increase costs to the municipal taxpayers, and that's right there in the Goldilocks zone for us. A couple questions, I guess, is, so the NDIT grant, are school districts not eligible to apply, and that's why you'd like the city to do it?
So I can answer that. The local governments are eligible to apply, nonprofits and some First Nations organizations are eligible to apply. So the school district cannot apply. Now, we have discussed who could lead out this initiative, and we are, subject to your decision today, open to discussions with nonprofits. But we would contend, given that we want this to be a community-led, collaborative approach, that the city applying for this would be our strongest suit and give additional leverage to some of the funding components that we want to lead. And that's why we would contest that the city of Dawson Creek would be the best applicant for these funds.
Okay, but I mean, well, I guess we're going to have a discussion about this afterwards. One question I will pose to our General Manager of Community Services is whether or not the city has any other projects queued up it was going to apply for through this grant. Because I know once we apply, if we're successful in our bid, we won't be able to secure it for another 2 or 3 years. So 2 years. So there might be some conflict there. One more question I wanted to, have you guys at all been in touch with the Dawson Creek Triathlon and the folks who run that?
Well, Jamie Maxwell is a counterpart of mine, so it depends on what level of discussion. But yeah, Jamie Maxwell is definitely aware of this. This is not something that he's leading or that is triathlon specific, but notwithstanding, there is a conflict.
I'm not, and I wasn't just saying they've got their triathlon coming up on the 12th, and it would be probably, if you wanted to raise awareness for a foot push to do this, see if you can get them to help you promote the initiative as far as fundraising and awareness, and start planting the seed in people's minds that, because I mean, if you are able to secure $300,000, that is wonderful, but the other $200,000 or $300,000 is still a lot to come by, and you're going to want to start with people who have a vested interest in that athletic endeavor. But yeah, no, thank you for this information. It looks very exciting. I think as somebody who grew up in Mackenzie and used to go to Prince George for track and field, I know the appeal of going to a real track with makes you feel like you're all grown up. Very exciting, and thank you for coming and letting us know.
Thanks, Councillor Earl. Councillor Parslow.
Yeah, this is interesting. Just so I understand, you want the city to apply for an NDIT grant. The remaining cash is to come from the city as well. Is to come from the city.
No, what we're projecting, and again, it is admittedly, it's. I'm glad that we had the mountain at the first slide. We recognize we are moving a mountain here, but what we're petitioning is that the city apply for that NDIT grant, and that the remaining funds will come through leveraging community supports via whoever is available and or willing to participate in this venture. And then the ongoing operational costs will be the responsibility of the school district, who is committed to donating land and is committed to any maintenance costs associated with the track.
So the other groups you hope to get, you want cash from them. Is that correct?
The NDIT grant, as I understand it, accepts in-kind donations.
Yes, it does.
And fundraising. The Rotarians, again, in case in point, for the Chetwynd track, threw in $90,000 for that track. Now, $90,000 is not $500,000. This may be a longer venture, but we want to, and again, we have a meeting with the Rotarians. I'm able and willing to talk to any association, the oilmen, some of the big industry partners, to see if this is a possibility and something that they would be willing to support.
So the schematic here that you just handed out, I mean, track and field, well, yeah, track is track, but field, have you got a detailed budget of the cost of developing high jump pits, throwing stuff for distance so that it's protected all properly? Are we going to have a proper track and field, or is this just track? Because I don't like being I don't like things happening just half done. I like the whole thing, so you can have a comprehensive senior games, if you like, or whatever you want. We have it all here.
So that mock-up that we have there did have this sort of setup that it was a rubberized track.
Yeah.
And there'll be a rubberized end, which was a proper circle. Since that time, that mock-up, the school district did put in a proper throwing circle, and we have to put a cage around it.
Yeah.
And we have a proper throwing circle to do those kinds of events. And that costs, I think, the school district probably about $5,000, give or take, to put in, and maybe more because it's quite expensive. They put in a long jump pit, which I have not been able to utilize yet, just because it's way off to the side, and it's something that they put in there that might have to get redone if we were to go to a higher level. The high jump stuff, it's a matter of finding a flat rubberized surface. I have all the high jump mats. I have pole vault mats. I have all of those things. I have all the throwing implements. Throwing is, you build the circle, you build a cage. That's all you really need.
And for javelin?
Yeah, I've got the javelins too. Yes, I coach all of them. So I have a lot of equipment we've acquired over the last 25 years. So we've been very lucky. The school district does support us a bit. I think this year Shell Canada gave us about $15,000 to buy a whole bunch of brand new throwing equipment, a throwing cage and stuff. So we're always looking for those fundings from industry. So yeah. So.
Well, the reason I asked is I think if we do anything, we should do it properly or have a long-term plan with all sketched out year one, year two. I do find that this location is rather confining. I mean, I've just, a few weeks ago, come back from another location, track and field. I walked the track, but there's nice stadiums there. People can shelter from inclement weather. In this case, it was Kelowna from sun. I mean, I just think this is a poor location, personally, for a comprehensive track and field. Also, I know the one in Peace River, Alberta, they have a nice running track, but it's also, it's not easy for you to run your quad all over it, dirt bikes and so on, which has happened in some locations. So what's the security of this facility?
So currently around the South Peace track, there's fencing all the way around it. I do see that there's spots that the school district would have to improve the fencing and the accessibility of it. I guess Prince George is a good example. It's got 6 feet high fences, and when Prince George redid their track a number of years ago, they spent quite a lot of money on it, and since then they have a full-time staff at that facility. All the time is open. just so they can do it. But they have an artificial soccer football turf, so they did do that. So yeah, the vandalism is an issue, but I think that's something I think I could definitely go to the school district and say we need proper fencing around the facility that we have now, because right now we currently don't. You're talking about in Kelowna, I'll be there in a few weeks for summer games, and yeah, location wise, the reason we sort of picked this one is we already have sort of that space. It's not as small of a space as people think it is. It's, you know, you need a 400-meter track. You need a huge space to do it. So I'm happy having a track anywhere, to be honest. I'd love it at the school that we have so the school could benefit from it. But also, let's say if the city suddenly, an initiative suddenly said we want to find $1 million and we want to build a beautiful facility with stands and put it somewhere near the soccer parks and something, I'm more than happy to have it, you know. Just because we got to get that first step forward of getting the funding and get, like I say, move it past the first hurdle if I use the track and field thing.
As I said, my preference is to see a comprehensive budget with the full development of a track and field facility in the community that's secure, open to everybody, possibly administered by an independent group other than the school district, and it be truly a community thing, not just a school district owned thing. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Parslow. Councillor Earl.
Thank you, Worship. I just want to make note to our delegation that while you are looking for funding, the South Peace Mackenzie Trust, I'm not sure if you've heard of it, they did give, I think, $250,000 to the District of Mackenzie Community Bike Park and Ski Hill upgrade. The one thing to bear in mind is that you have to have an angle around economic diversification and sustainability, which, as you've noted, with the potential to host competitions and things of that nature, I don't think is too far of a stretch, but I just want to put you onto them if you haven't heard of them as well.
Thanks, Councillor Earl. Councillor MacDonald.
Thank you, Worship. I appreciate Councillor Parslow's comments, although I think it's lofty to think that we're going to have a community group take over the operations of this. I think having the school district wanting to and willing to take operational control of that is a great thing, honestly. I do agree it'd be nice to see some kind of grandstands in the schematics here. If you want to host a summer games or a senior games, you need somewhere for families and everyone to sit. Right, that's be an important part. My question is, have you approached the college at all? Do they have any interest in being a part in any way? They seem to want to develop more athletic teams throughout to help support their students and their recruitment. Have you approached them at all yet?
So we haven't. The first order is to approach the city of Dawson Creek, but notwithstanding, I'm a former collegiate athlete in Grand Prairie. I recognize the value of developing athletics in concert with post-secondary institutions, absolutely. Honestly, I think if there's a track in this city, it would be used by multiple entities, and I think those bridges could be made once the actual facilities are developed. But notwithstanding, I'm open and willing to speak to NLC to see if they have any interest in supporting this initiative via land and or any in-kind or financial contributions.
And then what's your timeline?
So, I mean, definitively, I think the linchpin of this is applying for the grant. I can only emulate what the guidance that Chetwynd has given us, the District of Chetwynd. From initiation of the grant to the actual construction, they ribbon cut the track this spring. It was a 2-year timeline.
Okay. I just want to say, I think it's a great thing. We as a council have talked a lot about sport tourism, and this fits right into that. Honestly, the idea of hosting a summer games here, senior games, I think would be amazing and awesome. And I have great appreciation for low barrier high school sports. If you can keep kids interested in athletics, you keep kids in school, right? And I think that's a great thing. So thank you both for this. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Councillor McDonald. Councillor Apollonio.
Thank you, Your Worship. Of course, thank you for the delegation, Mr. Eric Wolf, and of course, Carsten. I'm excited about this because there's a lot of people also approaching me about a possible running truck in outside field, not only in the Oventive. I know it will be costly, but during your presentation, you said that I think there's no cost at the city's part. So I think that's a positive note. I'm also agree with Councillor Pasto. I know it's really high to expect more, add more. So at least slow by slow, so a little by little that we could add it up. So at least it could be a more attractive piece of the property of the school district and of course the city. My question, can PRRD also be involved or the First Nation here? The PRRD,
River Regional
First
District,
Nation
yeah.
could be involved here. So at least there's more collaboration, especially if we're eyeing for a bigger.
Yeah, I think we're open to speaking with other orders of government. This is in some measure exploratory. We don't have a complete path of how to get this done, so it will require lots of discussions and a lot of collaborative pieces. But we could contend that given that there is forgive the pun, a track history of this, of the development of a track within a smaller jurisdiction, Chetwynd, just down the road, we can achieve this as well. This is a hurdle, but this is something that we can easily clear, and we're open to conversations and to building that confluence to get this thing done. As Eric has mentioned, I went to high school in South Peace 35 years ago. We had a gravel track there. We had very poor infrastructure at that time. This is long overdue for a jurisdiction this size. We want to paint the vision and to build the collaborative opportunities, and we're open to speaking to the regional district on this initiative as well. So,
Thank you. Thanks, Councillor Apollonio. Councillor Parslow.
There's a couple of things I want to just remind staff and council about. In the past, I used to sit on the NDIT regional. We had sometimes applications for funding, the same funding area, there's different categories of funding from within the same community. So those two applications competed with sense against each other. I think it's wise to become aware of which other organizations are applying for, in this case, it's the recreation infrastructure component, so that we don't hit the same meeting with 2 or 3 applications from the same community. I'm aware of this because I've just submitted an application for recreation infrastructure for the next intake on behalf of a large organization in this community, large from the point of view of membership. So we need to just be aware of scheduling and have our radar operative about what's going on. Just one last thing about the design here, and thinking about community and so on. Washrooms, changing rooms, showers, where's that in this design?
So that was a mock-up of just the track part, but
Right.
at the currently at that place, they used to use it for a football program.
Yeah.
And we have what we call the Recplex, which there's a change room and washrooms there. In the winter months, a lot of time, the speed skating club, they would put their speed skating oval there, if anybody's quite aware, and they would use that in the winter months. So there is those facilities there that has a full-size change room and washrooms in the place. That's something I think we would have to approach the school district to get that revamped and put together. It already exists right beside the facility.
That's right. I forgot that. However, speed skating, is that going to re-emerge? Is that going to be... Surely you can't have speed skating on a track, can you?
My understanding is there are some facilities, and I heard about this, this is what I'm hearing, that is placed in Saskatchewan where they were able to put something over the track, and then speed skating was able to put an oval. Because with speed skating, all you're doing is dumping water on it. The question is when you're putting all that water, the freezing and all that stuff, is that going to damage what's underneath? I don't know that. My experience in the last couple of years with speed skating is the oval's a hit and miss. Sometimes they get it in January, sometimes they get it in December. They didn't have one last year. They didn't have one a couple of years ago. Is that club going to be running anything outdoors? That being said, and I'm sort of saying this is my perspective, I want to support all the athletes and all the sports. This is a school district facility, and I think this is giving us a long-term thing. So could speed skating still be there? That's something that depending on what we could do, I don't know.
So
I think it'd be more difficult, but I think that might be a hurdle we might be able to, we could look at trying to get over.
Well, I think we need some answers on that sort of thing.
So
personally.
if I may, with that issue and what Eric has mentioned is a facility in Prince Albert, Saskatchewan, we'd love to support dual use of the space, absolutely. I'm not a speed skating expert, but as I understand, the oval and the corners are somewhat different. And again, if we want sanctioned events, BC Summer Games or 55+ games, we can't half bake this. We need a proper sanctioned track. And I would contend, without knowing the numbers directly, the Prince Albert example, again, wonderful idea, and in the absence of anything, they will use it. But it would amplify the cost of it, and then whether or not the school district would be willing to pay for speed skating maintenance is in question. So I would contend that's a separate issue, divorced from this discussion.
Thank you. Thanks, Councillor Parslow. Kevin, do you got any questions? No? Okay. Any other council? No? I didn't have any. I think a lot were answered. I just want to thank you both for coming in. I also want to thank you, Eric, for your commitment to the youth and the track and field and being the executive director for as long as you have, and for all the volunteering you do with our youth in our community. It doesn't go unnoticed here how much you give back to our community. So just thank you very much. So, yeah, and thank you both for being here today. Thank you so much. Yeah, you're welcome. All right, I can vary the agenda. Next, 2026 strategic priority chart. I don't think there's any updates. Kevin, did you have anything? No, council? No, all right. Next, late items. No late items. 5, new councillor business. Councillor McDonald.
Thank you, Worship. I just want to report back to council that following our last council meeting, we did have a meeting of the Cenotaph committee, Cenotaph. We had some great discussion. We had a representative from Kelly Lake First Nation attend with us to further discussions about the regional aspect of our Cenotaph and ensuring that we acknowledge everybody who served and didn't come home from the region. Again, some great discussion around furthering our design concepts and just laying down our next steps, which is getting back out in the community to discuss with our regional neighbors about, like Kelly Lake, furthering identifying those that served in the Great Wars. Objectives moving forward is reaching out to the RD again for discussions around funding, reaching out to our First Nations partners to discuss their own lists of those who served during the wars, and just again moving along and ensuring that we do this right. We're taking our time, This will not be a quick project. This will be a time-consuming project, but we're going to make sure we do this right.
Excellent.
The other thing I want to just acknowledge, NCLGA is moving forward with trying to get some minister meetings lined up for UBCM with our advocacy priorities of transportation, including, the Quesnel Connector, Highway 97, and specifically the Taylor Bridge here in the Northeast, as well as moving forward with healthcare, housing, ECDEV, and public safety. And we have acknowledged our continued engagement with chairs and mayors around the region to ensure that we have true supportive advocacy efforts that complement everyone. So just trying to acknowledge our need to make sure that we are in continued communication and relationship build with our membership.
Perfect. Excellent. Thanks, Councillor McDonald. Councillor Kemp.
Oh, thank you, Your Worship. I just wanted to kind of let everyone know that I will be doing a charity run, on July 23rd. I'm going to be running from from Dawson Creek to Fort St. John. The charity run's kind of in honor of Mona McNally, who was an amazing, pivotal person for our community, and I want to just keep her dream of Step Up and Ride alive. So I'm hoping to raise funds for that group.
Excellent. Thanks, Councillor Kemp. Councillor Earl.
Thank you, Your Worship. And I just want to report back to council. I did have a chance last week to sit in on the call alongside Devin with the Ministry of Transportation. Good overall, I think. It was fairly brief, but we always go back, we always note that each community is distinct, but every community is the same in some respects, and a lot of the feedback that we put forward were echoed by our counterparts from other municipalities. I stayed mostly on topic, other than at one point where I noted, because the call was focused chiefly on safety, but I did take the opportunity to highlight the disparity between the turnaround time on permits from us and the turnaround time on permits from the ministry when it's a business that is abutting a highway. So they took that feedback, and I appreciate it, even though if it was a little bit off topic. So appreciate them and the opportunity to discuss. And what we put forward were very similar to the issues we've mentioned here, around pedestrian safety with those two highways that do go through town, and just some maybe a bit more line of sight when they are sending out contracts for maintenance work, to coordinate a little bit better with us so that we can ensure the ongoing issues like the snow plowing onto the sidewalks and vice versa and back and forth is something we can maybe get in the contract and deal with and ensure that it is resourced and there's an accountability piece around that. So it was a good chat. I also wanted to commend the folks at the South Peace Community Arts Council who hosted the Multicultural Fusion Festival this last weekend in Pioneer Village. The weather was a bit of an impediment, but overall it turned out good. I was down there for a little bit. Had representation from many cultures that have come to call the South Peace home. South Asian, Filipino, Ukrainian, Indigenous, and then a bunch of others I'm sure I'm forgetting, in a bunch of community groups. And they had a bunch of crafty stuff and instructional stuff in Sedaten Hall, so really good use of the facility. Once again, the weather was a bit of an impediment, but I think they still had a pretty good turnout all around, so congrats to them and thank you.
Excellent. Thanks, Councillor Earl. Councillor Parslow.
Yeah, I've got several things. As I missed the morning meeting, last council meeting, I did attend on behalf of the city the Natchez Commons opening.
Yeah.
I was pleased to see Bill and Devin there, and they were invited there by Droid staff. I think it's Isaac, isn't it? Ivan. Owen, yeah. good to see the interaction there between the guys, and very well attended. And I recommend the cafe for sure. If you like Bannock and how Bannock can be used, it's just excellent. It'll be interesting. I did spend some time with Owen talking about finance, and so it's going to be interesting to talk about how that will be further developed up there and where the money is coming from. But anyway, congratulations. It's an excellent start to the development for sure. I was telling the mayor that I was cleaning out a room and I came across this book.
When was it from?
Darcy, don't be mischievous. This has been lying in my house since 2022, and it's a book that I edited, and but it was put together by a person in Peace River, friend, wonderful photographer. But there's about 12 or more different photographers. It's a beautiful book about the Peace region. And I was given this to give to the city. So I apologize for that. There's a little inscription in it. But it's a wonderful book. And I suggest the mayor and Kevin decide where it goes. But it's to remain in the city hall.
Thank you,
Just
Councillor
saying
Barslow.
that to you.
Look forward to reading it.
I was pleased
His
to
guilty conscience was getting to him, actually.
Yeah. So anyway, that was quite the project editing that book. But I was pleased to hear what Amy said about Mona and acknowledging doing something to keep that alive. That's great. I don't know what it is, but I wrote something about it, but I ventured into the area where there's been some enhancement of our existing trails, some improved connectivity. And I just want to say, hey, that's great. It's good work, nicely laid out, very good stuff, well used by people. When I was only there 5 minutes, and there was lots of people using that of all ages and stuff. And I just plead for more of that. You know, that is multi-year, all-year use, all generations. And it's nicely done. I really want to commend the thought that went into how that laid out and so on. Equally, I had visitors. I became a host for a group of people from Texas, and I took them to the art gallery. And again, the art gallery is a real jewel of a building, very friendly staff, the tourism staff that been greeting people in that parking area. I've observed them and talked to them, doing a great job. But the layout, and again, the thought and the remediation that's gone into that is a real good welcome to Dawson Creek location, being staffed by enthusiastic people, and it really makes a strong presentation. So I think Ryan's had a lot to do with that, and I'm just saying more of that trail development, please. We've got some very good topography, interconnection from this urban, rural, and we should keep working at that. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Parslow. Councillor Apollonio.
Thank you, Your Worship. Again, on behalf of the Kalipi or Filipino community, thank you very much for the last flag raising ceremony. Thank you very much for bearing with us here on the second floor for gathering in the second floor and too much people. But thank you very much. With the radar, so thank you. And of course, I already emailed you the Looking West. I hope you find it something interesting. And of course, thank you to the city staff. I saw some improvement on the roads, especially the lining, the lines on the roads. It was nicely done, and of course, just on time for the summer. Thank you very much, and that's it.
Okay. Thanks, Councillor Apollonio. Any other new councillor business? No? All right, next, 6, adoption of minutes. 6.1, we have minutes of the regular meeting of council held on June 15th, 2026 for adoption. Councillor McDonald, second. Councillor Kempf. Call that to vote. Still have nothing, no. Stuart Manuel. Okay, all in favor? Opposed? That's carried. You were in favor, right?
It was just slow putting.
Yeah, I figured as much, yeah. I think you're getting back at me there, so I'll take that one. Any business arising? No? All right. Next, 8, correspondence. 8.1, we have email from Janet Murphy, advertising representative with the Royal Canadian Legion campaign office. I received on June. Thank you, Councillor McDonald. Next was correspondence. 8.1, we have email from Janet Murphy, advertising representative with the Royal Canadian Legion campaign office, received on June 16th, 2026, regarding advertising request for the 21st anniversary edition of the Military Service Recognition Book. Councillor Earl?
I just have a question before I make a motion.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is this coming to us because we're interpreting the ask for advertising as a grant or a sponsorship of some sort?
So through your worship, I would see this as a sponsorship.
Okay. Yeah, I just knew that clarification. And I don't want to put Melissa on the spot. But if we were keen to put some advertising in a military service recognition book such as this, there are a number of options going from a tenth of a page up to a full color outside back cover. As the marketing and communications person, do you have any recommendation with respect to what we might want to commit to? If anything, or what might be useful to you? I get it's not necessarily within your wheelhouse, given that we're looking at this as a sponsorship, but I don't want to go in. You're ultimately going to have to provide the graphic and work with these folks to get it in there if we go ahead, so.
Through your worship, thank you for the question, Councillor Earl. I am not prepared whatsoever. However, we do a lot of similar size ads in many different booklets such as this. This would be the first time that I'm aware of doing one in a military service recognition book, and so I would have to come up with what would be appropriate content for this one. Because I do tailor my content. However, that's something we can figure out and support if you wish to support it. I often do a quarter page on this style of a book, but a full page would be fine as well. I usually recommend against the business card size, that 1/10 of a page, just because it's hard to get content worth sharing.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. Thanks, Councillor Earl.
Yes, thank you for the clarification. Sorry to put you on the spot like that. I'll move that we go with a quarter page full color ad at for a total cost of $715.
Second, Councillor McDonald. Discussion.
I obviously I like to support the Legion when the opportunity arises. I understand this is not necessarily the local guys, the British Columbia Yukon Command, but they work very collaboratively with our local people. And I think for the value they provide to the community with the Remembrance Day ceremony and the other stuff they do, it's nice to be able to help them when the opportunity arises.
Thanks, Councillor Earl. Any other discussion? No? All right, I'll call this motion to vote.
Will you, though?
Roll.
Yay.
Vote is closed. It's carried. All right, I'm just going to vary the agenda to 16, recess to close meeting. 16.1, resolution to move into the meeting of council closed to the public. For agenda item 2.1, section 91J, information that is prohibited or information that if were presented in a document would be prohibited from disclosure under section 21 of the Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act. Councillor Kemp, second Councillor Apollonio. Call that to vote. There we go.
On a roll.
Vote is closed. It's carried. The annual regular meeting of City Council for Monday, June 29th, 2026. Back to order. Next order of business was 2.2. We have Staff Sergeant Hughes and Sergeant? And Sergeant Petal with the Dawson Creek RCMP in attendance regarding detachment resource report for May 2026. So, morning, gentlemen. Welcome. Nice to see you
morning.
both. Yeah.
I had a pen.
Do you need a pen?
No, I don't. Anyways, I'm good.
Must be good to be well organized.
Thank you very much. Look at that go.
Yeah.
Well, I printed it in colors. You can't have everything.
Pen's flying at you.
So thank you, Your Worship. Okay, we'll get right to it. Police resource report for the month of May 2026. We changed up, we spoke last month about how we're going to report on the resourcing. It's kind of pointless to report on what the resourcing was a month ago, and then in this case, we're into the end of June now, so it's 2 months ago. So I've changed this now to report for the current month. So of 31 full strength, we have one member that's light duties. He's working 40 hours per week, but not operational. And that member, put a little A there beside that. So that member has actually announced his retirement. He'll be retiring at the end of September.
Well, can you speak up, please?
Sorry. That doesn't move like that, just in case anybody wanted to know.
Is that your best voice?
My best voice?
Is that your best voice?
Well, what would you like me to do?
I can't hear you very well. I heard
Should turn up the little electronics bit? Okay.
Do you want to go? You can go sit over in the gallery if you want.
So just
I'm
for,
going to sit right by you, Robert. Every word you say is important.
could you please? I'll just wait for Councillor
I won't
Parslow.
sit too close, but actually, the previous presenters, I could understand the Joe Judge beautifully. The lady was very soft spoken. I couldn't understand the words she was saying.
I think it's not on the mic.
Excellent. We're ready to go now.
Oh, now I can.
Excellent. Thank you. So I've changed the pitch of my voice as well, just for you.
It's got an aggressive tone to it.
We're all going to adopt an aggressive tone here pretty quick. You keep dragging this out, Charlie.
You must not have any questions, and this is your tactic to drag it out today? Okay.
Pal.
Okay, excellent. Love you, Councillor Parslow. One member's off duty with an unknown return date. We have 3 vacant constable positions. Those are hard vacancies, waiting for staffing to come alive with those. We have 1 general investigation position that's vacant. And we have 1 frontline corporal who's taken a 2-year leave of absence without pay. Not good for the detachment, but one good thing about a 2-year LWOP is that we can put it out for staffing. So we currently have 10 staffing actions in with the staffing department, and we have 1 member that's coming back from depot. So very excited. It will be Constable Keaton Odd. He was a guard here at the detachment, so in that From the North to the North program, we're very excited to have him coming back to the detachment. So normally we don't announce the names, but we're very, very excited to have one of our own coming back. So congratulations to him. We have 1 member of our GIS team that's transferring to Nunavut, and they will be leaving around the end of September or middle of September, we think. We're just waiting for some logistics there with moving up to the north in flights and sea lift and stuff. Again, we have the one member that's retiring after 28 years on September 17th. We have one constable that I spoke about last month transferring to the Uniform Gang Enforcement Team. His expected departure is September, October. We have another one of our constables that promoted to corporal in Fort St. John. Departure again September, October. And we unfortunately had one constable that resigned, and he will be going to a municipal police force down in the Lower Mainland, and his scheduled last day of work is August 19th. Crime reporting trends for year to date up into the end of May, 3,547 calls for service, which is up 4.3% from 3,401 the same period last year. Without getting into all this, we continue to run about an 80%, 20% split between city calls and rural calls, which is Pouce-Coupe, and all the way up to Taylor Bridge, down the Alberta border, Kelly Lake, and then north up past Rolla and such. Our theft of vehicles are finally in the green, so trending back in the right direction. Our theft from vehicles is, again, coming back into the right direction. People are locking their vehicles more, a little more awareness. Might be that the days are getting longer, or I guess they're getting shorter now as of June 21st. But in this period, the days were getting longer, so more daylight. The less darkness for people to hide in. That demographic tends to like the dark, which is why security lights work so well for stuff like that. So we're at 53% increase from the same period last year, down or trending down from 81% last month. Our break-and enters to residents are at 30, which is double what it was last year. Not really sure why that's an increase of 67, because 15 to 30 is a 100% increase. We had none in May. Break and enter to businesses, we're at 12 from 6, none in the last 2 months. One of the things with break and enters is we have the way that these are reported. So break and enter to businesses fall under one category. I think it's about half of these 12 are well sites. People breaking in and stealing fuel or stealing wire. So these, just for reporting purpose, so that everybody knows, it's not people smash and grab into businesses. Some of these are, but this high number, a lot of them are well sites, and those are commercially owned sites, so they're classed as a B&E to business. So just a little explanation behind that. Our assaults are up 23% to 112, and at the request of Councillor, where'd he go? You moved? No, you didn't move? No, I have some stats here on the domestic reports. I'll get into those at the end. Our sexual offenses combined are up to 30. Drug possession, trafficking, we had 10 in May. Our men and women over there are smashing it pretty hard, doing search warrants and getting those people off the street, making those seizures. So that's going very well. Our impaired driving is down to 39 from 59, so it's down 34%. And going by memory and going by statistic, I would bet that crashes are probably up. And they are 10%. Theft, including shoplifting, is 177, so up 11% from the same period last month. And Sergeant Peddle will have a little bit of a speak about the prolific offender program there. Our mental health files are a decrease of 24% from the same period last year. And you can see 2025 and a 4-year average, 2025 was a high year. 2024 is very much in line with the average. Our unspecified assistance decrease of 4%, and files involving the members of our unhoused community is an increase of 32%. No real explanation for why that is. There's trends that come and go. Into our assaults. So I ran quickly of all of our assault files together. I believe it was around 30 for the month. I didn't bring the spreadsheet with me. So of those 30 files, there is 4 of them are verbal domestics. So they get called in as an assault taking place, and then when we go to attend, there's no evidence of the assault, and uncooperative parties are saying, no, we were just arguing, and there's not sufficient evidence for us to support a criminal assault charge, but those still get classified as an assault because there's domestic violence policy where we do a sequence of follow-ups behind those to make just for public safety. 6 were actually confirmed domestic assaults, charges were laid. 2 were the same couple, another 2 were the same couple, and then 2 were single events on their own. So 4 of the 6 of the charges were repeat offenders, and then also breaching their conditions released from the first one. So 2 of these assaults are actually liquor stores. One liquor store employee was spat on by a subsequent complaint, and one was slapped by a thief as the clerk approached the thief at the door. The thief slapped them in the face. One of these is 2 men fighting over a gas pump. The report was written that the first male gestured the second male in a way that he did not like. And then they approached each other, assuming that it was going to be a verbal confrontation, and it escalated into what was not a verbal confrontation. So, again, none of these are stranger assaults. Like just no, the one could be classed as a stranger assault, but it's 2 men engaging in what we call a consensual fight. If you are engaging in behavior with somebody else, threatening somebody, provoking somebody, and then you don't do anything to disengage from that confrontation and continue to engage to consenting males, to consenting people, that's a consensual fight. It still gets classed as an assault, but that's the one situation. I think 3 or 4 of these were families of children fighting with each other, children fighting with their parents. We have group homes. 4 of these files are group homes, where it's kids in the group home system fighting with each other, and the attendants or the caregivers at the homes unable to control them and calling us for assistance. So again, none of these assaults, like I've spoken in the past, none of these assaults are somebody walking down the street at 2 o'clock in the morning and being randomly assaulted by a stranger. So, getting away from the stats side of it, Dawson Creek Citizens on Patrol. We continued to engage with that group and all of our citizens groups. So as every month, big thank you to all of those groups that act as our ears and eyes in the community. Call in those suspicious occurrences, those things that we call unspecified assistance, but to get the police cars into the communities. Our violence suppression efforts continue, and again, now we're going to have that uniform gang enforcement team up here in Prince George. That should be September, October-ish before that's mobilized, and then we should start seeing the benefits of that. I will speak very quickly but briefly about the bank robberies that have happened. We have information, we believe it's likely the same person, but that hasn't been confirmed yet. There was some things that I was going to speak of, but there's been a little bit of evolving investigation pieces happen this morning over the detachment, so I'm going to dial that back a little bit. The public safety piece is obviously what everybody wants to hear about. There was a gun produced in both events, so that is obviously horrifically traumatic for the bank employees. Every gun is a real gun until it's proven not. There's some speculation floating around that the gun may or may not be real. We do not, in any circumstances, assume that a gun is not a real firearm until we have that gun seized and is proven safe and proven to be either or. So we have increased, Sergeant Petal has pushed really hard to increase our patrols, making sure that our members are out doing every bit of paperwork they can in their vehicle, just coming into the office for the essentials. Excuse me. So our patrols have increased as much as we can for the amount of bodies that we have, and just concentrating on the city core and around those financial institutions. So until this person is caught and put in custody, that will continue. So I will let Sergeant Peddle speak about the program, and then we will answer any questions.
So they've introduced the Chronic Property Offending Intervention Initiative, and thankfully Dawson Creek was one of the communities identified. I think it's going to be it's for 2 years. It most likely will get extended. It's intended to, it's a multi-agency initiative designed to intervene and address prolific property crime, chronic public disorder, and offending in communities across the province. It's been deliberately designed to operate in a manner as the Violent Offenders Program. And I can touch a little bit on the success that that's seen since it's been introduced. Since the Violent Offenders Program was introduced, police interactions involving designated individuals increased by 1,500 incidents, so about 50%. That was over 18 months. Since its introduction, offenses declined by 480 incidents, so we see a 56% decline in violent offenses. So what they done is they designed the new program based on that because they see the positive results, and they're hoping to see the positive results with this as well. We probably have a handful of people in our community that are chronic, so we should easily fill our wish list. And if the system does what it says it's going to do, we'll definitely see some dramatic decrease in property crime.
Excellent. That's good. Good.
That's all we have, Your Worship.
Awesome. Well, thank you both very much for being here and presenting, and yeah, exciting new program too. So, especially seeing the success of the violent one, right? So,
I have a list already.
yeah. Councillor Earl.
Thank you, Worship, and thank you to both of you and Staff Sergeant. Thank you for the breakdown on the assault stats. Sorry for the extra work, but it's good for us when we talk to the public because, people hear the word assault, and obviously their mind goes to a very grim place, and certainly some of them do qualify as ugly incidents, but, others are, once again, there's not a shadowy horde of people just lurking in the darkness to attack strangers. It's people who are known to each other, people who are, maybe earlier intervention by social workers or counselors would probably be more helpful than waiting for it to land on your desk. So that just gives us some good information when we are either communicating with the public or advocating to our counterparts at the provincial level around healthcare and mental health and substance abuse support services. What this actually looks like and how we can meaningfully address it, as opposed to, you guys having to show up after people have fallen through the cracks and, deal with the fallout. So thank you for that. And thank you for the update. Sorry, is it still Sergeant? Okay,
is, yeah.
Sorry. I was second guessing myself there. Sergeant Peddle, thank you for the update. I echo the sentiment of the mayor. Very exciting new program. I know we've had the conversation with the provincial government and advocated to them around the property crime piece. I know initially, and understandably, their focus was on violent crime, but the case we were always making was, people who are engaging in chronic criminal activity have a tendency to graduate into violent crimes if the petty crimes are being not properly addressed. So to see them taking some action on this, and hopefully it does yield the outcomes we hope for. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Earl. Any other discussion? Councillor McDonald?
Thank you, Worship. With the chronic property crime prevention, will there be any collaboration with Alberta and Grand Prairie? I believe we've had conversations before about the very organized way the property crime works between Alberta and ourselves, and the thieves seem to like to travel back and forth in an organized manner, per se.
Yeah, unfortunately, right now it's only a BC initiative, but we do try our best to work with Grand Prairie, Beaver Lodge, Peace River. We're dealing with the same criminals, but there's no plans with the police in Alberta to have, they have no program like this.
Okay. Speaking about your relationships with the Grand Prairie Municipal Force, how's your relationship with them?
Well,
How do you perceive it to be in the future?
Well, I guess the RCMP, they finish up now in the fall. I don't really see anything changing. That's our hope anyway. There's a good communication there. We do get calls from Grand Prairie to assist with stuff, so hopefully that continues. Because
Okay.
once again, we're sharing the same criminals for the most part,
100%
especially
we
property
are.
crime.
Yeah, 100% we are. Okay. Well, gentlemen, as always, thank you so very much for the service you do to our community. Super appreciated. And both these programs, the UGAT and the chronic property, that's huge for the north and that's huge for the northeast. This is a true credit to the advocacy work done by our mayor, council, and yourselves. So thank you so very much.
Thanks, Councillor McDonald. Councillor Apollonio?
Thank you, Your Worship. Of course, thank you very much, Staff Sergeant, of course, Sergeant Pedal. I just want to say thank you, especially to the officer, Anna, who was present during the Better at Home's Dawson Creek Scam and Fraud Prevention for the seniors at the Northern Lights. She was amazing. It was impressive, noted that she stayed on after the presentation, and she really interacted with the seniors, entertain questions, and I think that those kind of gesture or those kind of programmings are really effective, just to make people aware that the police or RCMP are available, and of course, always keep in touch with the community. So, yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Apollonio. Councillor Kemp?
Oh, thank you, Your Worship. Just one question, like when I look at this report and I see, off-duty and stuff, and then others retiring and stuff, I'm just concerned, like staffing issues. There isn't any moving forward, like your job's tough and you need time off and all the things, but do you see any issues in the future of not being able to cover positions?
Thank you. Through your worship. Staffing is it's a policing issue. It's not a Dawson Creek issue. Spoken before about recruiting. It's a national issue. So do I see problems coming in the future if things keep trending the way they are? 100%. We can only sustain numbers this low for so long. As it stands right now through the busiest period, we are fortunate enough to have most of the people that are departing. They're not departing until into September, October. Staffing, there's other detachments in the north that are in far worse shape than we are going to be even. So they're getting the priorities. We are working with North District right now. The expectation is that we will be deemed a priority for staffing here within the next month or two. And then we will start getting some more bodies coming out of training in Regina. So I wish there was some magic wand that I could wave around and attract people to the profession. It just doesn't exist, unfortunately. It takes a special person to want to do this job, and it takes an even more special person to want to do it well. So it's not for everybody. There's lots of people that want to do this job that just aren't cut for it. It's a career. It's not a job. I could go on for hours, but to try and keep it as short as I can. RCMP, policing in general, recruiting across the country is a challenge, and it has been for several years. There's more people that are retiring out than we can get in. there's all kinds of recruiting initiatives. The one is the North to the North. There's a lot of, we're finding there's been a lot of people that they want to stay home. We promote community and family, and then you sign on the dotted line and send people across the country with no guarantee where to go. So with the North to the North program, people that are from here can go to depot and have some sort of confirmation that, you may not come back to Dawson Creek if you're from here, but you might go to Tumblr or Chetwynd or Mackenzie or Hudson Hope or Fort St. John or Fort Nelson or somewhere close, that you're not, $2,000 worth of flights and taxis and hotels to go and see your family at Christmas. So promoting that family. The federal government also has stepped up and doubled the allowance at depot. It used to be $500 a week, and now to get more in line with the municipal police forces and their recruiting and training salaries, it's $1,000 a week now. So that will hopefully attract more people into the profession. We're looking for all ages. You're not too young and you're not too old to apply for the RCMP. So you get it, people with families, it's pretty hard to go to depot and still support your family back home when you have mortgages and bills and kids in school and all kinds of stuff at $500 a week. So very excited that the government has brought that up to $1,000 a week. It makes life a little more sustainable. So hopefully we'll start to see that pay off here in the near future. That was a long-winded answer, sorry.
Good. Thanks, Councillor Kemp. Any other questions? No? I don't have any either. Thank you guys both for coming in and presenting today. And thank you for all you guys do. So, yeah.
Thank you so much. It's our pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you for having
I was surprised as well. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't. Yeah.
He's away from the microphone.
Yeah. We're going to keep going because he's been.
It'd be a nice place for me to park
Yeah.
when I come to observe future council meetings. I'd like one of those sofa things.
Yeah.
Drink by my hand.
We could probably arrange that.
You lost me at drink. Have a good day, Councillor Parsley.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thanks.
Best I can do is an extended year.
Yeah.
You'll be getting a hold of me about the. Yeah.
Yeah, we need at least a few.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Next, we have 8.2. We have email from Joy Lynn Abraham, vocational coach with the Obair Economic Society, received on June 23rd, 2026. Request for letter of support for the Obair Economic Society 40th Anniversary Community Engagement and Gala Development Project. So just before we do something with these, just so you know that Obair came in and met with me about both of these. So they're just looking for letters of support. Once they do get this one, the Gala, then they might come back to the city to see about if there's some parts that the city could do with it. But currently they're just looking for, they need letters of support so they can apply for the programming. So. Councillor Earl?
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll move that we provide the requested letter of support.
Thank you. Second, Councillor Apollonio. Discussion? I'll call that to vote. Thanks, Councillor Earl. Sorry, you weren't going to add?
No, I
Okay.
said nothing to add.
Oh, okay. Vote is closed and it's carried. Next, 8.3, we have an email from Joy Lynn Abraham, vocational coach with the Obair Economic Society, received on June 23rd, 2026, regarding a request for letter of support for community resources mobile app project. Councillor McDonald?
Your Worship, I'll move that we give them the letter of support for this initiative.
Thank you, Councillor McDonald. Second, Councillor Kemp. Any discussion? I'll call this to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. Next, 9 reports. 9.1, we have report number 26-122 from the Chief Financial Officer regarding 2025 Statement of Financial Information. Councillor Sudnick.
Thank you, Worship. I'll move report number 26-122 from the Chief Financial Officer regarding 2025 Statement of Financial Information be received. Further, that 2025 Statement of Financial Information be approved as presented.
Thank you, Councillor Sudnick. Second, Councillor McDonald. Discussion. I'll call this to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. Next, 9.2, we have report number 26-131 from the Deputy Corporate Officer regarding the 2025 annual report. So this morning's council session is being held at the City of Dawson, as the City of Dawson Creek's annual meeting as required under the Community Charter. As part of the annual meeting, we will now consider the 2025 annual report. The report provides an overview of the city's financial statements, strategic priorities, and key activities and accomplishments from the past year. The annual report has been available to the public since June 15th, both in the administration department at City Hall and on the city's website. Written submissions were accepted until 12 noon on June 26th, and any submissions received have been included in the agenda. Members of the public were also invited to attend this meeting or watch via live stream and have the opportunity to speak to the report today. Before we invite any public comments, we'll ask council to formally move and second the staff recommendation within the report. The recommendation is that the report number 26-131 from the Deputy Corporate Officer regarding 2025 annual report be received, further that the Dawson Creek annual report for 2025 be approved as presented. Could I get a mover and a seconder? Councillor McDonald, second Councillor Kempf. Thank you. The motion is now on the floor. If there are any members of the public who would like to comment or ask questions about the report, you are welcome to come forward to the delegation table one at a time. Council or the city team will do their best to respond to any questions. Any public? No public. So seeing no members of the public wishing to speak, I'll now turn to council for any questions or discussion. Councillor Earl.
Well, I guess obviously, thank you to staff for putting this document together for not just ourselves, but for the public. I was going to make a note on the last item, commend the, with respect to the statement of financial information. Thank you to Melissa and her team and working with our auditors to get all that in order. I think I've said it before, but it bears repeating. Very greatly appreciate it. I think anybody, this is a very good representation if you were looking for a, it's 97 pages, so it's not a short read, but if you wanted a good summation of what we've been up to on your behalf the last year with respect to the finances, with respect to the strategic priorities, with respect to the challenges we face, with respect to the structure of the city and just having a better general understanding of how this city is organized and how it operates, I think this is a very worthwhile document. So I hope members of the public who are keen, especially those who are putting their names forward for council in the upcoming election, take some time to read this and understand it. And I think you'd be much better informed with respect to what's going on in our city for doing so.
Thank you, Councillor Earl. Well said. Any other discussion? Just on the same page as everything Councillor Earl said. I just wanted to thank the city team for their efforts putting this together. Also to council as well. It's a pretty phenomenal report, and to go through it and there was lots that caught my eye. One was the strategic priorities, just how. I guess just how those have been followed in the last year, but also the last 4 years, just to see that on paper. But then also to look at the achievements when you actually start to go through them and you look at all of them. Like some of them feel like they happened 10 years ago, and some of them feel like yesterday. Like there's a significant amount. So there's lots to be. Obviously, there's always room to improve and to learn, but there's a lot to be proud of. In this last year, in this document. So just a thank you to everybody. All right, if there's no other discussion, I'll call this motion to vote. Thank you. The motion is carried. That concludes the annual report portion of the annual meeting, and we will now proceed with the rest of the agenda. All right. Next, 9.3, we have report number M26-118 from the Tourism Emergency and Climate Readiness Manager regarding local government climate action program funding. Councillor Kempf.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll move the recommendation, the report number M26-118 from the Tourism Emergency and Climate Readiness Manager regarding local government climate action program funding be received. For the council directs staff to forward a letter to the province requesting that the local government climate action program funding continue.
Thank you, Councillor Kemp. Second, Councillor McDonald. Any discussion? Councillor Earl.
Thank you, Your Worship, and thank you to Chelsea for the report. And I understand the province's finances are not in the best shape, and the feds are similarly looking for opportunities to reduce spending. Given the issues we've had over the last pretty much since I've been here between floods and droughts and wildfires and the necessitated evacuations associated with those things, and the fact that part of the provincial government and federal government's response to this has been to insist that we as municipalities and as regions beef up our emergency management and response capacity to then turn around and potentially eliminate the funding that we've relied on to do that is, I guess, just another chapter in the ongoing story of how the provinces download more and more onto municipalities. I'm very, very proud of the apparatus that our staff have created to help manage emergencies, and the fact that it has been not only a resource and of value to the citizens of Dawson Creek, but of tremendous value to our neighboring communities and other parts of the province. The expertise that has been cultivated out of necessity. It was frustrating enough having to go hat in hand to the province year after year after year, applying for grants to fulfill a mandate that they imposed upon us. And now to find out that those grants aren't even going to be available, let alone something resembling a stable stream of funding, is, I think, a step backwards in the wrong direction. Like I said, I appreciate everybody's trying to tighten their belts, but I have a hard time believing this is the best place to do it. So I'm very much in favor of sending this letter and advocating to our counterparts in the province that this is no way to balance the books.
Absolutely. Thanks, Councillor Earl. Any other discussion? Okay, I'll call this motion to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. Next, we have 9.4, report number 26-127 from the Deputy Corporate Officer regarding council meeting location and scheduled changes. Councillor Parslow.
I move the report number 26-127 from the Deputy Corporate Officer and read council meeting location and scheduled changes be received. Further, meeting location that all council meetings be held at the Peace River Regional District Boardroom from July the 20th, 2026 to December the 31st, 2026 inclusive. Further, meeting start time that all council meetings held at the PRRD boardroom begin at 10 a.m. Further, that the October 19th, 2026 council meeting be cancelled to allow staff to properly prepare for and conduct the 2026 general local election. Further, the November the 16th, 2026 council meeting be rescheduled to November the 23rd, 2026 to allow council members to attend the regional council orientation. And finally, that a special budget council meeting be added on December the 7th, 2026 to support focused budget deliberations.
Thanks, Councillor Parslow. Second, Councillor Apollonio. Discussion.
I'm somewhat amused by the last item. A new council will have focused. I would rather to support staff leading the council through a budget process.
It's focused budget deliberations.
Focus with a new council, maybe 5 new people. Good luck.
Yeah. Thanks, Councillor Parslow. Any other discussion?
Bring the crayons and popsicle sticks.
I'll call
Led
this.
by the nose.
I'll call this motion to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. Next, 9.5, we have report number 26-130 from the Capital Projects Manager regarding request for proposal 2026-22 Capital Works Willowbrook Subdivision lining. Councillor Earl.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll move the recommendation that report number 26-130 from the Capital Projects Manager regarding request for proposals 2026-2022 Capital Roadworks Willowbrook Subdivision lining be received. Further, the council award the contract for RFP 2026-22 Capital Roadworks Willowbrook Subdivision lining to EnviroJet Services Limited for the quoted price of $378,474.75, excluding GST.
Thanks, Councillor Earl. Second, Councillor Kemp. Thank you. Any discussion?
I guess just of note, because it is sometimes noteworthy when we get these RFPs and the bid recommended by, or the proponent recommended by staff is not the lowest per dollar bid. And I'm sure I could ask staff why, but I could guess that although, you know, in the grading matrix that we provide or that we use to figure out who gets awarded a contract. Price is a significant component. It's not the only component, especially when you're talking about things that are going to be buried underground. You want to make sure people have the capacity and the record of success and the, you know, all the other things that are going to lead to a successful completion of the job. So anything to add or contradict?
No, you've done well.
Okay, wonderful.
Through Your Worship. Yeah, it's exactly that, is that it's price is one component, and we use RFPs when a typical tender situation is maybe not the most appropriate. When we are dealing with sometimes a little bit more of unique or complex project where we are seeking perspectives and expertise to be presented to us through a proposal of how they could accomplish it. And so we develop some scoring matrices on some items that are critical for us. And in this case, really the individual or the company, the things that tipped it for them was the risk mitigation and communication with the residents. That's what kind of brought them up and above past the next closest ones. So, which is very important. So,
Yep.
yeah.
No, once again, especially when something's going to be buried underground, you want to always time to get it right the first time.
Yep.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Earl. Thanks, Kevin. Any other discussion? We'll call this motion to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. Next 10 bylaws. We have 10.1, report number 26-110 from the Deputy Corporate Officer regarding elections and assent voting, bylaw number 4633-2026 for consideration of adoption. Councillor Kemp.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll move the recommendation that report number 26-110 from the Deputy Corporate Officer regarding elections and assent voting bylaw number 4633-2026 be received. Further, the Council adopt election and assent voting bylaw number 4633-2026, which repeals and replaces election and assent voting bylaw number 4527-2022.
Thanks, Councillor Kemp. Second, Councillor McDonald. Discussion. I'll call this to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. Next 10.2, we have report number 26-124 from the Corporate Officer regarding land sale 1001 105th Avenue, PRRD Admin Building, bylaw number 4630-2026 for consideration of adoption. Councillor McDonald.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'd like to move the report number 26-124 from the Corporate Officer regarding land sale 1001 105 Avenue, PRRD Admin Building, bylaw number 4630-2026 be received. Further, that land sale 1001 105 Avenue, PRRD Admin Building, bylaw number 4630-2026 be adopted.
Thank you, Councillor McDonald. Second, Councillor Apollonio. Discussion. We'll call this to vote. Vote is closed, and it's carried. Next, 10.3, we have report number 26-107 from the Deputy Corporate Officer regarding public notice amendment bylaw number 4634, 2026 for consideration of first three readings. Councillor Earl.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll move the recommendation that report number 26-107 from the Deputy Corporate Officer regarding public notice amendment bylaw number 4634, 2026 be received. Further, that public notice amendment bylaw number 4634, 2026, which amends public notice bylaw number 4521, 2022 by updating the definitions of City Hall and public notice posting place to reflect the city's primary public-facing municipal office as designated by the corporate officer and identified on the city's website by given first three readings. Be given first three readings. Sorry, that last sentence was killing me.
Thanks, Councillor Earl.
There you go.
You have a second? Councillor Kemp, discussion.
I assume this amendment is necessary so that we're in compliance with our own bylaws when we temporarily relocate for the coming months in order to mitigate the asbestos issues.
Correct.
Right on.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other discussion? Call this to vote. Vote is closed, and that's carried. Next, 10.4, we have report number 26-109 from the Deputy Corporate Officer regarding council procedure amendment bylaw number 4635, 2026 for consideration of first three readings. Councillor McDonald.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'd like to move that report number 26-109 from the Deputy Corporate Officer regarding council procedure amendment bylaw number 4635, 2026 be received. Further, the council procedure amendment bylaw number 4635, 2026, which amends council procedure bylaw number 4374, 2018 by updating the definitions of City Hall and public notice posting place to reflect the city's designated administrative office and public notice posting location rather than a fixed physical address be given first three readings.
Thank you, Councillor McDonald. Second, Councillor Apollonio. Discussion. I'll call this motion to vote. Vote is closed, and it's carried. Thanks. All right, next 11, Mayor's Business, 11, Mayor's Updates. Just before I get into the updates, I just wanted to just take a moment just to recognize Terry McFadden, who lost his battle earlier this year, but they had a service for him last week. So just Terry sat where we have. I think he was 8 years he sat here. So just wanted to recognize that and, you know, his contribution here, but also his contribution to our community. He was involved in a lot of different things in our community and gave back in a lot of different ways. So just wanted to take a moment to recognize that and obviously thank him and his family for this service. So. Next, Dawson Creek's Secondary Student Council. I met with them, that was a few weeks ago, so just had a great dialogue. They went through all the stuff they've done this year, and it was phenomenal, actually. I asked them at the end, I said, do you guys ever sit and reflect on what you've done? Because it was a long list. So they've done a lot this year. Yeah, so it was just a really good meeting. They got a good group coming into next year. They'll have elections in September as well for the grade 10s. So yeah, just really exciting. They were talking about coming here in September as well, or into the new school year. Also to, I don't know if we'll have with this council, they might come again, but I don't know if I'll have the opportunity. I just wanted to thank Councillor Parslow. This has been their third or fourth year that student council has been up and running, and Councillor Parslow was instrumental in helping get that go, and spent a lot of time with them and their governance and constitution, and really helped. So it's just nice to, you know, that I believe that was 3 years ago, or 4. It was right at the beginning of this term. But it's nice just to see it growing, actually, like each year too. There, especially for one like that turns over annually. So it's just amazing. So yeah, so thank you. And a thank you to them as well. I attended the Dawson Creek Secondary School scavenger hunt and graduation. It was actually really phenomenal. I've been around a lot of scavenger hunts, but not part of a judge. So it was, it was really good, and it was amazing to see the effort that, not just a couple groups, but almost all of them put into their to their vehicles, to their costumes, to their themes. It was really just amazing, and it was just nice to see everybody out having fun. I went to Kelly Lake First Nations, just had a community meeting, and it was a community meeting. Councillor McDonald, Kevin, and myself went out there. It was good. There was probably like 25 community members from Kelly Lake there, and plus their council, so it was just great. We talked a lot about what we're working on in the city, had a lot of roundtable open discussions. Really good. Yeah, it was good. It was great. Minister Neal was up. That was, I believe, last Saturday. Kevin, myself, and Councillor McDonald met with her and her team. So she was just up doing a tour of the area. So I had some good discussion with her just around, obviously, our water line and what that looks like into the future, and just continuing to build that relationship. And there was a lot of good conversation back and forth on that. Obair, I won't get into that too much. They were both their requests that I met with were part of the correspondence today. There is going to be, once they've kind of finalized their gala and event, they would like to come back to the city and talk to us about that. Mountain Christian School had their graduation on the weekend. I just wanted to congratulate all of the students from Mountain Christian School. Peace River Regional District, I had that on here just as I attended last week, but I don't have any updates to give currently on that. 8, the healthcare professionals recruitment and retention. I just was part of a call last week with Minister Anderson and Minister Osborne just on the healthcare professionals recruitment and retention. There was 160 some municipalities on there. So it was an hour long. You could imagine that many municipalities and politicians on there. There was a lot of questions and comments back and forth. But I actually, it was really good just to, it was solely on recruitment and retention. So it was really good to listen to what all the other communities are doing and just see where we're at as well. So it was really good. BC Hydro, we just had a meeting with them last week in regards to this ID, just to learn more information on that. So they're coming back here in July as well, just to bring some more education to the region and the community and what that looks like. Minister of Public Safety and Solicitor General announcement. Sergeant Peddle spoke to this already, but the minister spoke. She called last week and spoke to me in regards to this, just that the announcement of this, it's a huge thing for the northeastern British Columbia. We've seen in the violent crime program that they did, we've seen a huge shift in this region and in the province, but mostly in this region. That's because that's what I've seen or we've seen, but just the help that it administered to the safety of our region and to the RCMP. So we're really looking forward to this one as well. They announced, I believe there's 12 hubs in BC, and Dawson Creek is getting one of them. So that is a significant win for our community. Just a thank you to the minister and also to this council for the advocacy the last 4 years on this, because she was very clear when I had the conversation with her that relationship and our advocation was a big part of this. So just good job to everybody. Tumbler Ridge Music Festival was on the weekend. I just wanted to touch base. We did donate. We sponsored that, which everybody is aware of. So I wanted to touch on that. Also wanted to. Not on social media, so I'll thank Councillor McDonald for pointing this out for me, but just wanted to recognize the Dawson Creek Vet Clinic, which is actually a pretty substantial Thing that happened to them, they were they won Practice of the Year award through the 2026 Canadian Veterinary Medical Association. So Mike and Zoe Ross and Krista Harder and their team, just really want to congratulate them. It's a pretty phenomenal award to be recognized Canada-wide. And yeah, you know, like many in our community, they just, they do a phenomenal job in our community, obviously Canadian-wide as well, but I just wanted to thank them, congratulate them for this, but also thank them for their commitment and what they do in the city of Dawson Creek. They give back a lot and do a lot in our community and the region. So yeah, so just congratulations and wanted to thank them. And then just on ending, just a reminder that the Canada Day Parade is this July 1st in Puskupi, which we'll be at and attending at 11 o'clock it starts. So any questions on any of those? Councillor McDonald?
Thank you, Worship. You mentioned the grad festivities and the scavenger hunt, and I just wanted to send out a thanks to all the parents who volunteered on the grad committee. Yeah. My eldest daughter graduated this year, and the time and effort that goes into celebrating the high school grads is immense, and the community support is immense, and just wanted to share a thank you to everyone who gives or takes part or volunteers. It was a phenomenal thing to be a part of last week in all the grad celebrations, and my first time witnessing and being a part of the red carpet walk through Ken Park. And I'd just like to say thank you to the city staff and the city for being a part of that, because that's a really special moment for those kids to just to, you know, put on their gowns, their suits, and walk through that park and see so many and get celebrated by the whole community. So big thank you to everyone who's a part of that.
Thanks, Councillor McDonald. Councillor Parslow?
Once upon a time, there was much division in Kelly Lake. There were three groups of. What was your sense? Are they unified now? Or do they just have one organization, or do they have competing organizations trying to represent the community?
I feel like there's still a few. It's not for me to really comment on. I don't know.
No,
yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's still a few, but I'm not too sure.
So you said you met with the council. Are they elected council? So representing families like the other communities do, or is it a general election? Did you not pick that up?
I can't remember, actually. We met with them a while ago here. I don't know. I wouldn't be able to comment.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Used to be you'd never know who to talk to, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Councillor Parslow. Any other questions? No. All right. Next, 11.2, delegation request from the School District 59. So the request is pretty clear. Just Councillor McDonald.
Thank you, Worship. I'd like to move that we do give the letter of support for the NDIT funding request.
Okay. Second, Councillor Apollonio. Discussion.
I truly believe that this is a great initiative. It'll add to our ability to have sports tourism in the community. I do believe it's tragic that this community does not have a quality track and field location. And I fully support low barrier high school sports. It keeps kids in school, it helps them graduate, and it helps them move on to post-secondary education as well. I think it's a great initiative that I fully support.
Thanks, Councillor McDonald. Councillor Parslow.
Well, I'm not going to vote for this as it's presented. I would rather that I don't think this is fully thought out yet. There's so many indicators to me in the presentation that they have not got answers to some very important questions. I would rather that we have staff who do a very good job of helping community groups. I would rather wait before issuing a letter of support, because I do agree with many of the sentiments expressed by my colleague. I would rather wait and get a report from staff and have some answers to some of those questions. Just one simple one: the interface with the speed skating. Is it going to be a functioning track and field, or is it just a track? Do they have a multi-year plan to achieve the goal of a fully functioning track and field, with the track just being year one? There's lots of questions, and I think it's premature to do that. The other concern, if they make a request this intake, they're competing with another Dawson Creek request for the same funding. And my experience is when there's two competing applications for the same fund, one of them is going to be turned down. It's much better to coordinate these, and I would suggest that that if the city's going to do it, you don't make application until the first intake of 2027. So I think there's a lot of unanswered questions, and there's a lot of strategies. Right now, it's a sort of a general go ahead and we'll apply, directing staff on behalf of the city to apply for the grant. Well, I think we need to reflect the timing, and also my radar is saying that this is going to be something that has been akin to some other projects in my experience here that are not fully thought out of, and then there's additions after additions after addition. Okay, so I have to vote against it, although I totally am for this. I would accept it if it was just a track, right? But if it's going to be, but if we want to support as much sports tourism as possible, it has to be far more than just a track. Okay, if you want to hold a track and field event, or have something come to us that way, you've got to have all these sort of things, and I'm not sure what their aspiration is. So I would encourage people to vote against this, and I would want to put forward a notion that we have staff report back at a future meeting addressing some questions before we do it.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Councillor Parslow. Just reminded me of something, and I thought about it when the motion was getting read, but the motion was a letter of support, and the request wasn't for a letter of support. The request was we have to apply for this in our name. So should I have that amended, or should we just defeat this one and put a new motion forward because it's defeated?
Yeah, it's not a letter of support. Is we would have to actually make the application, and there's a number of things that comes with that.
Okay, just before we have any more discussion, I'm going to call this motion to vote. So just everybody's aware, you need to defeat it because it's not, Okay. Vote is closed, and it's defeated. All 7 were opposed. So I'll need a new motion. I'll give Councillor McDonald the first opportunity just because he made that one if he wants. If not, I'll go next in line. Councillor McDonald?
Well, before I make a motion there, Kevin hinted at some procedural issues that you guys will have making the application. Would you like to reflect on that for us?
Yeah, so through your worship, what we know is that reaching out to NDIT is that if we are making the application and if it's successful, then we will have to do all the administrative work. All the funding has to flow through us. We have to do the reporting. So there's that comes along with it. Just so council's aware. Yes, we may be competing against ourselves if we do have an application that goes in versus this, depending on where the the funding is at. If it's undersubscribed, then it's not an issue. But if the fund is oversubscribed, then it becomes a competition, and we may be competing against a project that we apply for.
Or other community.
Yeah, and so just again, just to be aware of that. And then just what Councillor Parslow said, it depends on what council wants to see from this, is whether you're envisioning a more than just a track, and maybe it's, if it's meant to become a bit of a sports tourism destination or opportunity, then there may be more planning that we need to investigate. Maybe it's been done, maybe just more discussions that have to happen.
Thanks, Kevin. Councillor.
I'll let Councillor Parslow.
Okay. Councillor Earl.
I was going to discuss, but if Councillor Parslow has a motion he'd like to put on the floor, I can hold my discussion until then.
Okay.
Well,
Councillor Parslow?
what I was going to do, because I have applied for and been successful with three $300,000 recreation thing. NDIT is an excellent organization. And the application form, you have to have a lot of detail about your project. You've got to be clear about the scope, the timelines, the measurable outcomes, okay? And you've got to have a lot of things put together before you can apply. And as I say, I don't believe, I'm all for this, one way or the other. But there's a lot you need to have absolute clarity about, benefits to the community. What will be measurable outcomes in year one after the completion? Measurable outcomes year two, economic impact. You have to have all these things crystal clear about where's this heading, right? So I'm just saying that we need to give it to staff if we support the concept, and we can then vote more in a far more informed way. It's just timing.
Did you want to make that motion?
Well, if that's
Or do you, Councillor Earl? Are you okay if he does?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Go ahead, Councillor Parslow.
I would like to move that the topic of the track at South Peace Secondary School, development of a paved track, be referred to staff for study and work with the proponents, and then report back to council when they have sufficient information in their view, right?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Second, Councillor McDonald. Discussion, Councillor Earl.
Thank you, Your Worship, and I agree with most of the comments that have been made here. If it was just a letter of support, that would be a no-brainer, but, and it's wonderful to hear, another level of government is potentially willing or able to absorb the operational costs of this, and if it's going to be their asset, I don't want to get into the business of trying to backseat drive on it, but given that we are being asked to apply for the grant and the administrative burden is going to fall on us, and any shortfall in fundraising, presumably, will end up back with us, because, what are we going to do, get halfway through the project and not finish it? And risk alienating NDIT. So I think there's a lot of risk here that we need to, as responsible stewards of the public's resources, manage. So I'm happy to report this. One other thing that may be worth noting is when you're engaging with the proponents of the project or the delegation that was here this morning, inquire as to the charitable or nonprofit status of the PAC, or Parental Advisory Committee, as they might be a more, historically, for something like this, if a PAC was going to go raise money for a playground at a school that was then going to be owned and operated by the school district, that would, I think, be a more conventional path for a grant proposal of this nature. I'm granted it's being done, proposed at a much larger scale and for more money, but I think that would probably be a better organization for this kind of project to lie with than the city. And we could, if we were interested in utilizing it for recreation for the general public or for sport tourism, we could provide some advice or engagement in that respect. But I have an issue with us applying for a grant on behalf of an asset that's ultimately going to be owned and controlled and funded by another level of government once it's done. I think there's some risk there we just need to have a better understanding of. So I'm going to support this and hope that we've given staff enough information that they can kind of intuit what we're looking for.
Thanks, Councillor Earl. Councillor Parslow?
Yeah, Councillor Earl has raised some very interesting questions and I think potential stumbling blocks. So appreciate them coming to your mind and you expressing them. I wonder if it's out of order, but given what Jeremy's input there, I would also like to staff in their report back of alternative locations. Is that with that in your report? You know, would you be willing to look at alternative locations within the community? Given that, you know, if we apply for this grant and we're not owning it, right?
We don't.
You know, is there another place that track could be built, such as Canalta Park? It's flat, it's big enough, but
Yeah. So through your worship, I think there's a number of things that, you know, we're going to have to look at and just, and get more information. If, again, with it, if we apply, is it our project? Do then certain tendering requirements and things apply? Can we accept donations and charitable receipts may be an issue. We ran into similar with MOPS and their project because of whose it is and whose it isn't and all of that. So those are the things that we need to work through first. And and then that's going to tell us whether we can even be involved with this project, and then the greater discussion of whether council sees this as something that the city may want to take on in future years as a capital project. So.
Thanks, Kevin. Thanks, Councillor Parslow. Any other discussion? No, I'll call this motion to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. Next, 11.2, if Chief Administrative Officer operational updates. What are you, Kevin?
Good afternoon. Thank you. A couple of quick updates. Obviously, we had a great weekend with rain. Yes, it depends on what you're doing. If you're inside. I was looking at the weather here just this morning, and it is raining to the west and to the south, and I think Tumbler Ridge is getting more rain, so that's always good for our watershed. So I think we've seen that Bear Hole Lake is at the just trickling over the weir, so that's all good news, and they're continuing to see moisture. So very positive, not only for our water supply, but really for the agricultural community in our region. It's much needed, and the timing was great. Paving at the arenas, I believe was scheduled originally for this week, but I think the weather has probably set that back a little bit and on finishing a few things. So when I get an update on what their tentative schedule is, I'll get something out to council, but it's in the not too distant future to get that done, which is great. Last week, Public Works got calcium out on our gravel streets, which was nice to see and a bit ahead of schedule. So although with the rain, it doesn't really matter, but when it's dry, it certainly does make a difference in those areas to keep the dust down. With the rain, we will have probably experienced some new potholes. I know that crews are Going to get back at that. We're waiting for some hot mix asphalt from Peter Brothers, and so we're just lining that up. And once we got that, we can get back at that. We received a couple NDIT grants, actually, notification last week for some playgrounds. So that's positive news for 2 playgrounds. So we got some funding for that, the Elwood and the Hillcrest playgrounds. And then lastly, the concert that was held on Friday, Dwight Yoakam, by all accounts, was a success. We had a strong crowd. I think everybody was, pleased with the outcome. Not only the participants, but the artist and the promoter were happy. So that's always positive as well. I know there were some discussion about slower than normal coming into the facility because there were some additional security measures. I just wanted to note that that was not something that we initiated. That was a request from the tour that they wanted that. So we just had some additional, it took additional time to get in, but that was the additional security measures. So it wasn't something that we just decided to do. Any questions, let me know.
Thanks, Kevin. Questions? No? All right. Thanks, Kevin. Next diary, nothing in the diary. 14 consent calendar. Anybody want to lift either from the consent calendar? Motion to accept. Councillor Sudnick, second. Councillor Kemp. I'll call that to vote. Vote is closed. That's carried. 15, no media question. No media. I shouldn't say there's no questions because there's no media. 16, recess to close meeting. 16.1, resolution to move into the meeting of council close to the public for agenda item 7.1, section 91J, information that is prohibited or information that if were presented in a document would be prohibited from disclosure under section 21 of the Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act. Agenda item 6.1, section 91K, negotiations and related discussions respecting the proposed provision of a municipal service that are at their preliminary stages, and that in the view of the council could reasonably be expected to harm the interest of the municipality if they were held in public. And agenda item 6.2, section 92B3, the consideration of information received and held in confidence relating to negotiations between the municipality and First Nations. Councillor Kemp, second. Councillor Apollonio, call that to vote. Vote is closed, and that's carried.